Fear stops us from achieving our true greatness. Are you a professional woman who is feeling stuck, unmotivated, or burned out? Are you worried about your wellness? Are you letting fear stop you from crushing your goals? If you answered yes to any or all of these, then this is the podcast for you. Dr. Charmaine Gregory, night shift emergency physician, burnout thriver, and wellness champion, along with everyday heroes just like you, will explore how to face fear in our lives and emerge victoriously.
Hello, hello, hello. It is Dr. G. Welcome to another week of the podcast. I am excited to have you here, and I am excited. Thank you, because you have helped us crush the 14,000 downloads milestone, and we are on pace towards 15,000. So thank you for all your help in making this podcast a huge success. And as usual, I am doing the happy dance. I hope you can hear it in my voice. Thank you so much for subscribing to the podcast, listening to the podcast, sharing it with a friend or two, and leaving a 5-star rating. You know, I really appreciate you. Absolutely do. So maybe you may be looking to start a podcast yourself. If you are, this is a fantastic time to do just that. So I hope that you will go ahead and follow your dreams and make it happen. As far as the course, I need to let you know how that's going. So the podcasting launch course has already come out. It started. The second iteration is in progress. We are in week number 2. Well, actually ending week number 2 and heading into week number 3 already. And I am just beyond the moon excited about the shows that are going to be coming out of this course. It is going to be mind-blowing. So get ready. Buckle up your seatbelts because it's about to get on and popping. So maybe you wanted to start your shower, but you basically did not get an opportunity to get in on the course this time. That's okay. I do have a waiting list. So if you're interested in being in the next class, then be sure to go to ferventlyfit.com/podcasting-launch-course-waitlist so that you can be on the waitlist and you can be a part of this amazing course the next time we run it, which is probably going to be later on in the fall, early winter. Maybe you are super busy and you cannot participate in a facilitated course, but you still want to get your show started. No problem. We have the podcast in a box, and that is designed specifically for you. And basically with this particular program, you provide the audio for the first 5 episodes to launch with a bang. And my team and I do the rest of the heavy lifting. And where can you learn about this? You can learn about it at www.ferventlyfitwithcharmaine.com/D as in dog, F as in fish, Y as in yes, dash podcast dash marketing. So get off the fear fence today. Your tribe is waiting to hear your voice. So you have several options as to how you can make that dream get manifested in your life and how I can help you. So boom, there we go. Now, I have to always be sharing the fantastic news about all of the amazing shows that have already come out of the last podcast course class. And today's no different. Okay. So the amazing women in the course have created incredible content and shows that are literally pure fire. So check out the 3 shows that are currently out. Show them some love by subscribing, leaving a 5-star rating, sharing, and leaving a positive comment. So the first one is Pivot and Bloom. Pivot and Bloom is doing so well. It has been crushing the downloads and just growing a tribe and having an amazing presence. And Dr. Mila has just been bringing the fire. So definitely check out Pivot and Bloom. And do show some love to her show. The next one is the drama-free workplace with Patty Perez. Now, Patty brings an amazing Latina flavor to her show, and she breaks down the drama that can happen in the workplace, and she tackles some tough topics and shows how you can have difficult conversations and come to resolutions. So please, please, please check out that show because it is amazing. And then last but not least, we have Living at Your Finest with Dr. Babs. And Dr. Babs is bringing such a unique perspective, talking about faith, talking about fitness, and talking about how you can have an amazing life. Be well, be healthy, and have a wellness mind. So definitely check out her show. It is still cranking out and pure fire. So I look forward to hearing from you, and I look forward to you supporting these shows because they're just fire, like I said. So thank you so much for that. As far as an update from the home front, I have been doing a couple of virtual summits and speaking engagements. So just so you know, I haven't completely abandoned my fear of public speaking march on. I have been not on physical stages, obviously, because of the current situation. But I did just finish doing a weight loss summit with a group of other physicians. Actually, it was 29 other physicians, and it was absolutely amazing. It was a great opportunity just to hear different perspectives. I talked about fear and how that can play a role in your wellness and how it can stop you from proceeding on and accomplishing great things, obviously. And so there were topics there talking about sleep, talking about mindfulness, talking about mindful eating. You name it, it was covered. So if you're interested in the full summit, I am definitely going to drop the link in the show notes so you can check that out. And I would love it if you check it out and pass it on if you find it helpful, because I honestly feel, even if you're not thinking about weight loss, it's just a great overview from experts, female physicians, talking about how you can have overall wellness. So it's not just about weight loss, but there is a lot of science that is covered about how you can do so successfully. So boom, super excited about that. So that was my most recent summit. There's the Thrive 2G summit is coming up. Thrive 2G conference is coming up this coming weekend. I'm super excited about being a part of that as well. And so if you are a female or a female of color in medicine and they're looking for an uplifting, enriching, and motivating, refreshing, I'm thinking of all the adjectives, amazing, mind-blowing conference to attend this weekend, definitely have them go and sign up at thrive2g.com so that they can experience the awesomeness and we can get to know each other. So there you go. So those are the two conferences that I am a part of this very moment. So that is it for my report on facing my fear of public speaking, though I do want to add one more thing. So what I have been doing, even though I haven't been doing as many formal speaking engagements, is I have been doing something scary every day, and that is actually doing a live stream on a daily basis. So I've been live streaming on Facebook mostly, but either Facebook or YouTube together. I have also tried doing a live stream on Twitter through Periscope. And I've also most recently got approval to do live streams on LinkedIn. So I've been doing that as well. So I have been really working on stretching my fear muscle and getting out there and doing extemporaneous speaking on a regular basis in the hopes that will help to develop that muscle so that I can deliver better content and serve an audience a whole lot better. So that's what I'm up to as far as, facing my fear of public speaking. And then last but not least, I am putting this out there once again. I am looking for ideas, feedback as to what kind of swag I should get for the podcast. I want to fill the swag store with amazing swag, and I need your help. I need you to tell me what kind of things you would like to see there so that I can go ahead and get the store stocked, and you can have an opportunity to support the podcast as well as have some pretty neat swag. So hit me up and let me know what kind of swag I should get. Okay, I think that's it for announcements. We always have so many. It's always just so exciting. And so now I want to talk with you today about who's coming up on the podcast. So today we have Julie Scott. Excuse me. And she is a feel-good junkie. Now she's a life coach, she's an author, she's a speaker, she's a founder of It's About Time Baby Coaching. And she is going to be bringing it in this show and talking about some things that sometimes we may not always want to talk about. And of course, we dig into fear. So let's get to it. Here is Julie. Hello, Fearless Freedom family. This is Dr. G, and today we have Julie Scott. Julie, you got to tell everybody in the tribe what you're up to and who you are.
Well, hello, and thank you so much for having me on your wonderful show. I so enjoy it. My name again, Julie Scott. I call myself a feel-good junkie, and I'll talk more about that later. I'm also a life coach. I'm an author and a speaker, and I'm a founder of my coaching business called It's About Time Baby. I'm also a recovering people pleaser, which is some of the work that I do. Actually, most of the work that I do with my clients is helping them break free of the people pleaser trap. And most of the time, they don't even know that they're in it. So I'm up to a lot of different things. I'm building a new program right now. That's a 2-month program that's centered around mindset, health, and manifestation. And I've got a group of about 10 women that are helping me build that out right now. So I'm excited about that. But just a lot of good stuff going on. I mean, I do a lot of one-on-one coaching. So things are always changing and in flux, but that's good. I love working for myself.
Yes. Yes. There is a lot of pluses towards that. And I know for myself, and the audience knows this too, that I have a day job. Well, technically a night job. You know, I take care of patients in the emergency department, but I also have a penchant for entrepreneurial pursuits, which the audience knows. And so as you say that, it is nice to work for yourself. I'm hopeful that at one day I will get to the point where I don't have to go to the night job anymore and I could just work for myself. So there you go. So talk to us about how you got into life coaching. Like, how did you get into that? Because there has to be a story surrounding that.
Oh yeah, there's always a story surrounding everything. I was going through some changes in my life. I mean, actually, I started getting into self-help work probably about 10 years ago, maybe even 20 years ago, probably when my marriage fell apart, but that's something else. But just trying to figure out why I felt so lost and unfulfilled, waking up kind of in my 40s. I guess that was about 10. I'm 54 now. So I guess it was about 10 years ago that I picked my head up in my life and looked around and I thought, how did I get here?
Wow.
And not really, having a clear reason as to why I felt so unhappy. I looked around in my life at that time and I had, I don't know, just lost myself in the sense that I didn't know why I didn't feel happy. You know what I mean? And I think it was kind of like a slow burn of losing myself. And I know now, because of the work I've done on myself, it was because of my people pleaser tendencies. I made sure I took care of everyone else. Mm-hmm. I made sure that I made everyone else happy. I made sure that I didn't rock the boat. I made sure that I didn't, speak my mind and ruffle anyone's feathers. I kept the peace. I was the referee. I mean, it was all the things that I was doing. I was dulling myself down. I was keeping myself small in my life. And I think that's, I ended up feeling a lot of anger and resentment around not really being myself. And I didn't know that that's what it was, but that's
Gotcha.
what I ended up discovering. But so how I got into being a life coach is I'd started reading so many self-help books, and I'd attended a few seminars and various things, and I had never worked with a coach. And there was a woman that I had actually met at a yoga retreat down in Tulum probably 8 years ago, and love Tulum.
I love Tulum.
And,
I love Mexico.
me
I
too.
love Mexico, so that's why.
Me too. So anyways, I met her, and she was just somebody who I met, just became friends with her, and we connected on Facebook and things like that. And it was probably about 2 years after I met her, she kind of disappeared off of Facebook. I didn't think much of it, but people sometimes take breaks and such. So when she reappeared on Facebook, she looked completely different. It's not as though it's not that she lost weight or changed her hair, but she just looked radiant. I mean,
Wow.
she was just glowing from the inside out. And I was like, what is up with her? I mean, I want some of that, I want whatever's going on for her, right? So I reached out to her and I asked her what had changed. And she said that she had been doing her own self-help work, but clearly she had turned a corner, and she actually had become a coach herself. Okay. And she's like, I'm a life coach. And I'm like, what's that? I didn't even know what that was. Mm-hmm. So I did a one session with her just to kind of get the feel for it. Right. And I learned so much about myself in that 45-minute session. I was like, wow, I want to know more, because I was already on the self-help trail. And after working with her for 3 months, over the course of that time, I recognized that the process that we were going through is actually something that I had been kind of doing in my life anyways, in the sense that I've always been that person that someone could come to, and I was always a good listener, and share what was going on for them, and I would give them non-judgmental advice if they asked for it, or I would just listen. And it occurred to me during that process, I'm like, oh my God, I could be a life coach. And I had been in a career of sales that was unfulfilling, draining me. I was just going after a paycheck. And so about 3.5 years ago, I became a certified coach and started my own practice on the side, just like you're doing with your stuff. And as of the first of this year, I went full-time into coaching.
Oh, that's awesome. Congratulations on that. That's huge.
So that's how I got here. So yeah.
That's huge. Wow.
It was scary, but awesome.
Oh, yes. I love that you use the word scary. So what was that like? Like, what was the fear that you felt when you said, you know what, I'm stepping out of being in the employee mode and I'm stepping into ownership? Like, what was that? What fears did you have there?
Oh boy. Well, I mean, there's the financial fear of not having the steady paycheck, right? There's also the fear of not having, benefits, right? So, I mean, all the things that come with working for an employer. I had an, 401k program through, a retirement thing, an investment thing, blah, blah, blah. And I mean, it was all the things that come with the security of the job. I mean, even within my own relationship with my partner, it's like, okay, how am I going to hold up my end of the deal here? I mean, even though, he's very supportive, but it's still, I mean, I was brought up to take care of myself, right? I'm supposed to earn, my keep, right?
Right.
So it was just the idea of just not having a safety net is what really scared me so much. And I actually gave notice. I gave a notice at my job on October 1st to leave at the end of the year, because I'd been there for 10 years and it was very much a family to me, even though I didn't love my job. I loved the people I worked with,
right?
And my employer was a wonderful person. And so during that 2 months or so, I 3 months actually, I socked away as much money as I could.
Oh, that was smart.
Yeah, well, it wasn't as much as I'd like it to have been, but I did a good job with preparing myself for it. But what I want to share, which is the most interesting thing about it, is once I decided, once I gave notice and I wrote that letter, printed to my, it was all of a sudden something changed inside of me, because you know how they say 99% is hard, but 100% is easy. That is absolutely true. When you're just dipping your toe in versus you're all in, that makes such a difference. And it was like I had 2 clients when I quit, or when I gave my notice, let's say in October. By the end of October, I had 4 more clients. And I wasn't.
Were you promoting? Were you
no. And it was like past clients knew that I was going into my full-time business, and I had referrals. I got 4 referrals.
Nice.
And they signed up just like that. And then I got 2 more.
Yeah.
And then I got 2 more. And it was like the universe saying, yes,
we've been waiting for you to do this.
Just like, wow. I was just giddy with happiness. I mean, when I sit in my office, I just think I'm so blessed to be able to do this work, my life's work.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, better late than never.
That's right.
And I feel like I'm going to probably live another 30 or 40 years. So I'm better doing something I love for like another 3 or 4 decades. How awesome is that?
That's awesome. That is awesome. I love that you say that, because you recognize that there were several fears there, but you also you had a plan to mitigate some of those, right? So the financial side, you're like, well, okay, I can't really control exactly how many clients I'm going to have, but I can control how much money I've put aside while I'm working, as an employee, that will hopefully float me while I'm, doing my ownership situation. So that was smart. And then the other thing is, you clearly have been building capital over the years, right? Because you had to have been producing something of quality, or else you would never have, old clients of yours referring people to you. So that's another indicator that this is where you should be headed. So that is amazing that you did that. And then to acknowledge that, yes, this is a family. And I agree that I feel like this is my family, my work family, but this is just not my path. And then, giving them enough time I'm assuming that you gave them that much time so that they can replace you, right?
Yeah. And I could train the person. Exactly.
Oh yeah. So there was some, like, they took some planning there, which is another good pearl, because we may be in a situation, and I'm speaking to a bunch of the people in the audience who may have come to the realization that there's not as much job security as once was thought in the house of medicine. As manifested by the current crisis that we are involved in, and that sometimes it's good to consider, maybe not necessarily take the bold move of going all the way out on your own, but consider starting something of your own, even if it is on the side, and see what happens. Because the universe may then be calling you to step away, do your own thing, because you're needed in a different way. Yeah. And not to be afraid, and also not to do things on a rash basis, right? Because you've been building up to this for some time, and you had a plan for that exit. Like, you had an exit strategy. Sometimes we don't have an exit strategy, and we just jump into things and just do them without thinking thoroughly about it, and then burning the bridge, which you never want to do. You never want to burn the bridge. So even if you decide that you want to step away from the current situation, you want to do something differently, you still should make sure that when you step away, you have a avenue through which you can potentially return. This is not to say you're going to fail, but this is just to say you have to be smart, because you don't want to be in a situation because you just never know when someone's going to be able to help you, right? You just never know when your interaction with someone is going to be valuable in the future. You just never know. So you never want to leave a situation in a bad way. So
agree.
That's
yeah, because what's interesting is that you never know. I mean, you just never know how someone is going to come back around. For example, I just signed up a new client I run workshops around people pleasing and claiming your unlived life is one of my workshops that I hold online, of course, because can't do anything in person. But a gentleman signed up to work with me as a client who I knew from my previous employer.
Oh,
He
look
was
at
actually
that.
a very good friend and colleague of the owner of the business I left.
Okay.
So the fact that I left on such good terms and he was aware of that, and he was always interested in what I was doing. I just think it's funny how things kind of come around,
Oh, yes. Oh,
because you
yes.
just don't ever know when someone is going to come back into your life. And like I said, I had a very good experience in that job. It just wasn't my passion.
Right.
It wasn't what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And so, yeah, I think it was, I'm very proud of the way that I exited that. I mean, if I'm completely honest, though, it was in February of last year that I had a new manager come in and was managing me at work.
Micromanaging.
Woo! It was so
I
much
do not
fun.
like the micromanaging. It is just
and
so not enjoyable.
And I was just like, wanting to pull my hair out. And I was like, you know what? I was talking to a friend of mine, and she was like, it'd probably be a good idea if you planned yourself some sort of an exit strategy. So I had a little bit of help with someone saying, put together a really solid exit plan. And so I really worked towards that for several months, thinking about it. Or, I mean, I think it was just really getting my head around it first and then, making the exit. So.
Oh, no, that's great. So thank your friend.
Yes, I have many times.
To have that foresight, we don't always have that. So that's good. Wow.
Awesome.
And then, so, you had that where you planned, the contingencies, right? So you're not planning to fail, but you're just having a backup to float you until success. And then it turned out that you had success anyway. So that worked out great.
Yeah.
What advice do you get to people who are, they're kind of at that point where they've decided now that, man, I really do need to think about stepping into the entrepreneurial realm. I'm just not sure what I should do. And what will people think? That whole thing that you mentioned about people pleasing. This is something that we are very guilty of, right? I mean, we're like, I can't do that because then the neighbors are going to think blah, 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 or whatever it is, whoever it is. But how do you empower individuals to not be obsessed with that and still do the thing anyway?
Well, it's kind of like, I think the biggest piece of it is just getting in touch with yourself, getting in touch with your truth. You know what I mean? Like, what's really true for you? How, like, when someone says something to you, because I'm almost 6 feet tall. You can't tell because I'm sitting down, but I'm 6 feet tall, almost 5'11". And if someone says to me, you're short, I'd be like, whatever, crazy. It doesn't. It's like, but if someone said something about me being tall or being a big girl, that would affect me, right? Because it feels more true for me. So it's like, I think that people have to get to what is true for them so that they can, not be affected by other people's opinions of what is right for them. It's like, what is right for you. But I think we get so caught up in the external rather than the internal, which is where all of our guidance really comes from. All the good guidance in our life comes from, our inner self. So it's getting in touch with your truth, I think, is the key. And focusing, always coming back to yourself. I mean, I'm a big fan of journaling. I don't know if you do any of that, but just asking myself questions like, why am I feeling this way? What's making me fear this? What made that comment about me affect me so much? And that's a way to kind of go in and get clear on what it is that's running you. I mean, especially with people pleasers. I mean, we are so affected by the people around us. And that's how, not getting to your truth. That's how you lose yourself in your life, right? You're constantly out, on the outside and not on the inside. And it's a muscle that you can build, is that, working on that inner self is definitely something that you can cultivate if you're intentional about it and conscious a little bit around it.
Right. The recognition piece is the key, right? Because it's like you said, it took you a while to kind of get to that place. And so, but if somebody is at the point where they're ready to do introspection, then you'll see it. You'll look around and it'll be clear to you. Like, you may not have seen it for decades. And then all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, I'm kind of swaying with the crowd here. Like, I'm not doing my own thing. I'm not being true to myself. Yeah. So that's wild.
Well, one of the things that I think is very important too is because just like any change, I think the very first step is you have to get awareness around that is in fact something that you A, want to change, B, need to change, in order to get to where you want to go, right? And one of the things that I've come up with, and it's just something really silly, it's a little quiz that helps you figure out if how much of a people pleaser you are, because I really believe that people pleasing is rampant in the world. I think that
Yes.
it's taught to us when we're children, and this is just something that I realized just a few months ago, that as a child, most of us are taught to be a people pleaser, in the sense that your parents will ask you or require that you do something that you don't want to do, right?
Eat your vegetables, or like the
right.
asparagus my daughter would eat last night.
It was lima beans for me. My aunt would make me eat as many as how many years old I was. I was like,
oh my gosh, that's terrible.
Swallow with a full gulp of milk, just swallow it whole. But it's the idea of, just getting the awareness around, the fact that your parents maybe got you to do something that you didn't want to do. And then when you did it, you got, praise,
yes,
love, acceptance, belonging, whatever, more soda pop, whatever that is.
Right.
And so we are taught from very young ages to kind of not be ourselves in that sense. And I'm not blaming parents. I mean, you can't reason with your child about every single thing. Sometimes you just have to give them something to do, and they have to do it.
Absolutely.
But it's like recognizing that you may have some of this going on for you. That's why I came up with this quiz. It's a quiz to see how deep you are into people pleasers. So I'll share that with you guys. It's just kind of fun just to see where you're at and how much it's got a hold on you, because it can show up in so many areas of your life, like the things I mentioned already. Yeah. But I think that's the first step, is just getting some awareness around it.
Wow. Yeah. So is the quiz on your website?
Yeah, it is. It's my website is itsabouttimebaby.com/quiz.
Nice. Okay,
yeah.
Awesome. So for those of you who are driving or doing something where you don't have access to the show notes, you just heard it. So when you're done with listening, go over there, take the quiz, see where you lie on the spectrum of people pleasing. So you just never know. You just never know until you check it out and you build your awareness. You are never going to know where you stand. So there you have it. Go for it.
It's some good stuff. I mean, it really is. I mean, I think that, my passion in life is to set as many people free from it as possible, because it's so damaging, and it's also so exhausting to pretend all the time. I think that's the main thing for me. It's like just pretending to be something or doing something you don't really want to do. I mean, it's just like going along, and it just eats away at your soul. It's just like, and I think that that's what happens. I see it with so many women that I work with as clients. It's like they're essentially stuffing all these emotions that they feel, right? And it ends up showing up in weight that they can't let go of.
Interesting.
Right? I mean, it's that unprocessed emotion shows up in our midsection and our bottom, and it's the tough stuff I really believe that once and that's another thing that I love talking about. It's like, instead of losing weight, because if you lose weight, you may find it.
That's true.
But if you release weight, right, you've made an agreement that you no longer need that. Right. And you can actually let it go. Because I really think that is such a big mindset thing around weight loss. I mean, I realize there are physical issues too, thyroid, et cetera. I understand all of that, but I do think a good portion of it is your mindset around, everything.
Yeah, because it's your mindset around how you view food. It's like, what I mean? Like, and then what it has a lot to do with how you were raised. It has a lot to do with your experiences. It's all about mindset. You're absolutely right. Yeah. So there can be a biological component, but in general, it will always come down once you fix that, because, you can fix that, right? I mean, if you're lacking the thyroid hormone, we can give it to you, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, there's a fix for that. But then a lot of times what happens, people get that fix and they still aren't better because it's how they view food, or they eat when they're stressed, or they, eat because they were traumatized or whatever. So mindset's huge. It is huge.
Same thing around exercise. I have people ask me all the time. It's like, how do you get yourself to exercise, 5, 6, 7 times a week, depending on what I've got going on.
Right.
And it's like, I don't focus on how I feel before I work out. I focus on how I feel after, because I always feel great after I work out.
Yeah.
And so that is for my head more than anything else. It's just that movement, that exercise. And I don't have to, I get to.
Right.
Because it's just when you can't do something and then you value it, right?
Absolutely.
So it's like just changing that mindset around movement even. So
no, that's great. That's great. Because even the words you use, right? Because you it's like you come from a place of pain or a place of power. Like which way you're gonna view it. So yeah, no, I get to exercise. Like it is a choice. That is a choice that I make, And so no, that's great. That's
and also the power of your own voice. Your voice is the most powerful voice that you can ever hear, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm a huge fan of, I record when I'm feeling really good, I make sure I grab my phone and I record some sort of awesomeness that I can listen to when I'm not feeling awesome, that I pull that up and I'm like, oh yeah.
No, that's great. That's a great pearl. Yeah.
That really is.
I hope you guys taking notes on this. Like, I hope you guys are actually going to do something like this, because that's a simple thing you could do.
Yeah.
When you're on that high note, like you literally record something very positive that you can listen to when you're on the low points.
Yeah. I mean, I've done that so many times. I mean, and it's not to say that it's not okay to have low points, because we have to have, the ups with the downs to be able to appreciate the good stuff. You have to have the bad stuff. But I just think that when, like, I use that so much because when I work out, I listen to podcasts, I listen to self-help books. And oftentimes when I'm exercising, that's when I get these great, because you can, how it is. I don't know if you know this, but for me, I can hear something 100 times, and then the 101 time that I hear it, I go, oh,
epiphany.
I get it. Oh my God, that makes so much sense. And that's when I grab my phone and I say whatever that is that just hit me. It's like, oh yeah, if I, whatever that is. And it's like, I can always go back to it. And sometimes I've recorded myself completely bawling with gratitude or whatever that is, but it's still very powerful to capture that and remind myself of how blessed I am for whatever I've just come up with.
Oh my gosh. So you've touched me, because I'm like, okay, maybe I should start doing that. That sounds like a fabulous idea.
Well, one of the things and I don't know if I could remember, I would give all the credit, but it's like when I work out, things work out.
Oh, nice.
And I know that sounds crazy, but it's like, I was never really able for many years to sit and meditate. I can do it now, but for the longest time, my form of meditation was actually doing some form of tough exercise, whether it's, a hard hike or a, strenuous bike ride, or typically a very tough yoga flow was one of the most productive, something called power yoga that I used to do for quite a few years ago, but I still do yoga. But those times where all I could think of was like, the instructor was saying, okay, reach through your heel, stretch through your arm, lift through your chest, draw your lats down, grow tall through the top of your head, whatever that is, all those things. I couldn't think of anything else in my life, because all I was thinking is, I don't want to fall over. I'm trying to hold this pose, breathe, not fall, challenge myself. And it's like, I figured out so many things at the end of a yoga class when I'm laying in Shavasana at the very end with tears just streaming down my face. And it's just like, because you're so open.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And clear-headed.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, yeah, I should leave my husband.
Oh!
That was one of the things that came out of my yoga. But that's
not what I expected to hear. Not expected.
But I was unhappy, and it's like, why am I unhappy? It's like, I'm not happy in my marriage. So I mean, it's just, obviously that's a huge one, but
that is a huge one. That's a life-changing one for sure.
Yeah, it took several more classes to get the nerve up to actually doing it, but it came to me in that class. So
I gotcha. Wow.
Good stuff.
Yeah. So you work out to work it out. I like it. It. That's great. Absolutely awesome. Wow. And so you mentioned a couple of things. You mentioned that you have the program, the working out program, exercise mindset, motivational program. What can you give the details on that? Like, how can people find out more about that?
Well, it's going to actually be open to the public starting September 1st, because right now I'm literally the pilot run on it I have a group of 9 or 10 women who've raised their hand and said, I'd like to be a part of this pilot program to kind of help me, build it out. I mean, I have so much knowledge and information about health and fitness. I did a bikini competition when I was 50 years old to kind of
nice.
give the proverbial middle finger to turning 50, but I did a bikini competition 2 years in a row. Just because I wanted to really challenge myself and see if I could do it. And plus it was like the scariest thing I've ever done in my life.
Yes,
it's like
you're walking up there with like nothing on, really.
Yeah, I mean,
people are like, judging you and your muscles. Like, what do the biceps look like? What do those little quads look like?
I mean, it's the definition of fear. It's like being on a stage in a bikini under bright lights to be judged. It's like,
and are you wearing heels? Aren't you wearing heels too?
Yes, like 3-inch heels.
See, that's the thing that'd be the scariest to me. That'd be the scariest part to me because I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna fall right now. I could just see myself falling.
One thing I know I was shaking like a leaf, but I'll tell you what, once I did that, I was like, if I can do that, I can do anything. That's why I think challenges are so important, because I think over and over you will surprise yourself as to what you're actually capable of doing. I've been asked to do some sort of a fitness program by many people for many years, and I've avoided it because I didn't really want to be. I thought it would make me a trainer, but in fact, now I realize that the whole mindset thing is the key to everything in life. And so I'm really excited to see how this unique program is going to, create amazing results for the women that are going to participate in it. And they range in age from 33 to 73. No kidding.
Nice.
I'm so blessed to have such a great range to see how, and, find out what works best for each one of them, because I don't want to overwhelm them. But it's going to be an 8-week program. This has a dedicated Facebook group along with it. So that's where we're going to be supporting each other, motivating, inspiring,
awesome.
And holding each other accountable, of course, as well, which is the power of a group. So this particular program will be offered to the public September 1st. So you guys can check back on my website. I'll have it all over the place there when it's ready to go. And if anyone does decide to look me up and follow me on Facebook, it is under It's About Time Baby, or just my name, Julie Scott. Of course, there's a million.
I was going to say there's more than one Julie Scott.
better go with a business name just to be able to find me. But yeah, I'm really excited about what this course is going to, because it's really centered around mindset. It'll be food, exercise, and manifestation, because I'm a huge manifester. I manifested, I feel like, working for myself. I wrote in my journal and I talked about it like it had already happened.
Nice.
And how many clients I had and all of these things, and it all came around to being real. And it was just it's so powerful when you realize and embrace the fact that you really are the creator of your life. And that's also what I teach as a coach. It's like the power in taking 100% responsibility for your life.
Absolutely.
It's nice to want to just own the good stuff. You got to own all of it, because if you recognize you're part of the problem, then you can be part of the solution, right?
Absolutely.
So it's really exciting. So for now, I'll definitely have good stuff to report back after we finish our pilot, but I'm ready to go September 1st. Thanks for asking about that.
Oh, awesome. Oh my goodness. We've had such a great conversation.
I know. I really enjoy talking to you.
Oh my gosh. And we have a tradition on the show. This is how we wrap the things up, and we fill in the blanks. Those 3 fill in the blanks. Are you ready, Julie?
I am ready. Let's go.
All right. Awesome. All right. So the first one is, if I am fearless, I will
impact the lives of thousands of people.
Love it. The next one is, to me, fearless freedom means
100% trusting in me.
Awesome. And last but not least, my battle cry is,
yes, I can.
Awesome. That is great. That is so great. So, Fearless Freedom Tribe, I know that you are going to look up Julie's programs and you are going to take the quiz and see where you lie on the people pleasing spectrum. And when September 1st comes and she launches her program to the public, I'm sure that you guys will sign up. You will look at getting her as a life coach. You will lift her up and just be better than you were yesterday, right? So thank you, Julie, for being on the show. And let them know again where they can find the quiz and where they can find your program.
Absolutely. Again, thank you so much for having me on your podcast. I absolutely love the work that you're doing and the community that you're fostering here. I just absolutely love everything that you're doing. So
thank you.
My website again is www.itsabouttimebaby.com. You can also access, I wrote a book last year, turning my no, I can't stories into yes, I can. So you can access the book on my website. But if you just do .com/quiz, you can take the People Pleasers quiz. And that will also give you the opportunity, if you'd like to opt into my workshop that's actually happening on the 11th.
Okay.
So that's happening. So you're able to look into that as well and read about that. If that's something that speaks to you, I'd love to have you join me on that. Otherwise, I would love to have you reach out to me if you have any questions about anything. I love to support people and be in service.
Fabulous. Awesome. All right.